My wife was pregnant for 11 months and still swore it was mine. It started innocently enough. A flutter of excitement in the kitchen one humid July evening. Tara stood there, barefoot on the tiles, holding a pregnancy test with trembling hands. "We're having a baby," she whispered, her green eyes wide with something between fear and joy. I swept her up in my arms, laughing like an idiot, already picturing a little version of us. My dark hair, her freckles, a perfect blend of chaos and love. The first few months were a blur of doctor's appointments, cravings, pickles, and ice cream at 2 a.m., and me fumbling through baby books I barely understood. Tara glowed, her belly rounding out beneath oversized sweaters, and I'd catch her humming to herself, hands resting protectively over the life we'd made. It was ours. That's what I believed. But then the due date started to slip. It was late October when I first noticed something off. We'd marked April 5th on the calendar, 9 months from that steamy night in July when we'd celebrated my promotion with too much wine and not enough caution. The OBGYN confirmed it at the 8-week ultrasound, a tiny heartbeat flickering on the screen. Right on schedule. But at the next appointment, Tara came home quiet, her lips pressed tight. "They're adjusting the due date," she said, shrugging it off. "April 10th now. These things aren't exact." I nodded, trusting her, trusting them. What did I know about gestation anyway? I was a numbers guy, logistics manager at a shipping company, not a doctor. 5 days didn't faze me. Then, in December, it shifted again. "April 18th, she told me over dinner, poking at her lasagna like it had offended her. "The baby's growing slower than they thought." "It's fine, Jake. Stop worrying." I frowned, setting my fork down. "That's almost 2 weeks off. Isn't that weird?" She laughed, a little too loud, a little too sharp. "Weird? God, you're such a control freak. Babies don't come with a stopwatch." I let it go, but the numbers gnawed at me. 9 months from July was April. Not late April, not May. I started counting backward in my head, double-checking dates on my phone when she wasn't looking. The math didn't add up, but I told myself it was nothing. Stress, maybe, or my own ignorance. By February, the due date had crept to May 3rd. Nearly 10 months. I cornered her one night in the nursery, where she was folding tiny onesies into a dresser we'd painted together. "Tara, what the hell's going on? This isn't normal." Her shoulders stiffened, but she didn't turn around. "It's normal enough. Some pregnancies go long. Look it up if you don't believe me." I did. Hours on Google, scrolling forums, medical sites, anything I could find. Sure, some babies came late. 41 weeks, 42 even. But the due date didn't move like that unless something was wrong. Or unless the starting point was a lie. I asked her for the ultrasound printouts, the ones with the conception estimates. She said she'd lost them. "They're just paper, Jake. Relax." Relax. That word started to feel like a weapon. By April, 11 months since that night in July, she was still pregnant, her belly taut and massive, her mood swinging like a pendulum. I'd catch her staring out the window, hands cradling her stomach, and I'd wonder what she was thinking. She swore it was mine, swore it with tears in her eyes, when I finally asked point blank, one rainy night, "How could you even think that?" She sobbed, clutching my shirt. "I love you. This is us." I wanted to believe her. God, I did. But the numbers wouldn't let me. 11 months. No one carries a baby for 11 months. So I did the math. It wasn't hard to backtrack. I had access to her phone. Same passcode since we started dating. 0614, her sister's birthday. She'd gotten sloppy about leaving it around, maybe thinking I'd stopped questioning. I waited until she was asleep, her breathing slow and steady beside me, then slipped out of bed and took it to the bathroom. Her calendar app was a mess of reminders. Doctor's visits, prenatal yoga, grocery lists. I scrolled back to last spring, before the proposal, before the pregnancy test. April 2024. She'd been visiting her mom for a weekend. April 12th to 14th. I remembered it because I'd been stuck working overtime. Annoyed, she'd left me alone with nothing but takeout and Netflix. Her mom lived 2 hours away, a little farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. Plausible enough. But then I found the texts, buried in a thread with mom, except the number didn't match her mom's contact. I'd called that number 100 times. Karen's gravelly voice always picking up with a, "Hey, sweetie." This was different. Unknown. I opened the chat. April 12th, 2024, 8:47 p.m. Here. Where are you? Reply, 8:50 p.m. back porch. Doors open. April 13th, 2024, 1:03 a.m. Can't sleep. You. Reply, 1:05 a.m. same. Come downstairs. My stomach twisted. I scrolled further, but the thread ended there. Deleted, maybe, or moved somewhere else. I checked her call logs. That same number, 3 calls that weekend, all late at night. None to her actual mom. I sat on the bathroom floor, the tiles cold against my legs, and pieced it together. April 13th, 3 months before July, 9 months before January. If she'd conceived then, the baby would have been due mid-January, not April, not May. But she wasn't showing in July. She'd been flat-stomached, radiant, no hint of a bump when she waved that test in my face. Unless she'd known all along. Unless she'd hidden it, waiting for the right moment to spin the story. My proposal was May 15, th.6 weeks after that weekend. She'd said yes, tears streaming down her face, and we'd celebrated that night, tangled in each other's arms. July's conception was just the cover. The baby was already there. I felt sick, betrayed, but I didn't have proof. Not yet. I needed to know who. Who was on that back porch? Who'd she run to before she locked herself into me? The next day, I called in sick and drove to her mom's. Karen answered the door in a flour-dusted apron, surprised but welcoming. "Jake, what brings you out here?" "Just needed some air," I lied, forcing a smile. "Tara's been stressed. Thought I'd check in." She ushered me inside, chattering about the garden, the weather, anything but Tara's visit last April. I waited until she was pouring coffee, then dropped it casual-like. "Hey, when Tara came up here last spring, April, I think, was she okay?" She never really talked about it. Karen paused, cup halfway to the table. "April." She frowned, then shook her head. "She didn't come up here in April. Han, last time was Christmas. You sure you got the dates right?" My heart sank. Yeah, must have mixed it up. "You sure you got the dates right?" My heart sank. Yeah, must have mixed it up. I left an hour later, her confusion echoing in my head. Tara hadn't been here. So where had she gone? Who had she seen? The answer hit me that night, sitting in my truck outside our house, watching her silhouette move behind the curtains. Ethan, my best friend since college. The guy who'd stood beside me at the proposal, grinning like a fool when she said yes. The guy who'd crashed on our couch a dozen times, who'd been there through every breakup, every job loss, every high and low. Ethan, who'd moved 2 hours away last year to a little cabin with a back porch. I remembered him joking about it once, showing me pictures on his phone. Perfect spot for a midnight smoke, man. I'd laughed, said I'd visit sometime. I never did, but Tara had. I drove out there the next morning, unannounced. He was outside splitting wood when I pulled up, his flannel sleeves rolled to the elbows. He waved, all easy charm, like nothing was wrong. "Jake, what the hell, man? You should have called." "Thought I'd surprise you," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Tara's been acting weird. Figured I'd get out of the house." He nodded, wiping sweat off his brow. "Pregnancy hormones, huh? She's close now, right?" 11 months, I said, watching his face. He froze, just for a second, axe mid-swing. Then he laughed. 11? Shit, that's a long haul. She must be miserable." "She swears it's mine," I pressed, stepping closer. "You believe that?" His eyes flicked to mine, then away. "Why wouldn't I? You're married, dude. It's your kid." I wanted to hit him, wanted to grab that axe and bury it in the stump. Or in him. But I didn't have proof. Not yet. I stayed an hour making small talk, letting him think I was just stressed, just venting. He played along, all sympathy and backslaps, but I saw it now. The way he avoided my gaze, the tightness in his jaw. I confronted Tara that night. Couldn't hold it in anymore. She was in the kitchen, chopping carrots, with a rhythm that felt too calm, too practiced. "You were never at your mom's last April," I said, leaning against the counter. "Where were you?" The knife stopped. She turned, slow, her face pale. "What are you talking about?" "April 12th. You said you were with her. She says you weren't. So where were you, Tara? And who were you with?" Her mouth opened, closed, then twisted into a scowl. "You're spying on me now, checking up with my mom like I'm some teenager." 11 months, Tara," I shouted, slamming my hand on the counter. "You've been lying about this baby from the start. It's not mine, is it?" She flinched, tears welling up. "How dare you? After everything. After I've carried this. After I've loved you." "Whose is it?" I cut in, voice low. "Ethan's." The name hung there, heavy, and for a split second, her eyes widened. Guilt, raw and unguarded, before she masked it with rage. "You're insane," she spat, throwing the knife into the sink. "Get out. I can't deal with this." I didn't leave. I searched instead. She locked herself in the bedroom, sobbing loud enough to cover the sound of me tearing through drawers, closets, anywhere she might have hidden the truth. I found it under the guest room mattress. A cheap burner phone, no lock, no passcode. I turned it on, hands shaking. One contact. Dozens of texts, stretching back months. April 13th, 2024. Miss you already. Last night was everything. July 20th, 2024. Told him tonight. He bought it. We're safe. January 5th, 2025. He's asking questions. Keep your mouth shut. And the last one, sent yesterday. He's losing it. Meet me tomorrow. We need a plan. I stared at the screen, my blood running cold. 11 months of lies, deception, gaslighting, the ultimate betrayal. From her, from him, my wife and my best friend, plotting behind my back, laughing at my trust. The bedroom door creaked, open behind me. Tara stood there, eyes red, face drained of color. She saw the phone in my hand and froze. "Jake," she whispered, "let me explain." But I didn't want explanations. Not anymore. I stood there, the burner phone heavy in my palm, its dim glow casting shadows across the guest room. Tara's voice trembled, fragile, like she was trying to stitch together something already torn beyond repair. "Jake, please. It's not what you think." "Not what I think." I turned, my voice a low growl I barely recognized. "You've been texting him for months. You slept with him, April, before I even proposed. And you let me believe this kid was mine. What part of that isn't what I think? Her hands flew to her face, covering her mouth as a sob broke free. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was one night, one stupid, drunk night. I was scared, Jake. I didn't know what to do. Zoyulit. I stepped closer, the phone screen still lit with her betrayal. You lied for a year. You let me paint a nursery, pick out names, lose sleep over a baby that's not even mine. And Ethan. My voice cracked. He stood there, smiling at me, knowing. She sank to her knees, clutching her belly, tears streaming down her cheeks. I love you. I didn't want to lose you. When you proposed, I thought I could fix it. Make it ours. Fix it. I laughed, bitter and hollow. You don't fix a lie this big, Tara. You don't fix it by dragging me through 11 months of hell, watching me question my own sanity. She reached for me, but I stepped back, the air between us thick with everything we'd lost. What's your plan now? I asked, holding up the phone. This says you're meeting him tomorrow. What's next? Run off together? Leave me holding the pieces. No, she whispered, shaking her head. I was going to tell him it's over, that I'd tell you the truth. I swear, Jake, I was going to fix this. I didn't believe her. Not anymore. The woman I'd loved, the one I'd built a life with, was gone, replaced by this stranger who'd woven a web of deceit so tight I couldn't breathe. I dropped the phone on the floor, its screen cracking against the hardwood, and walked past her. Where are you going? She called, scrambling to her feet. Out, I said, grabbing my keys. I need to think. I drove to Ethan's. 2 hours of silence, the road stretching dark and endless, my hands gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles ached. He was on the porch when I arrived, a beer in hand, like he'd been expecting me. Maybe he had. Jake, he started, standing as I climbed out of the truck. Listen, man. I didn't let him finish. My fist connected with his jaw, sending him staggering back against the railing. The beer bottle shattered on the steps, foam hissing into the night. He raised his hands, not fighting back, just staring at me with those guilty, coward's eyes. How long? I demanded, chest heaving. How long were you screwing her behind my back? It was once, he said, spitting blood onto the porch. Just that weekend. She came to me, Jake. I didn't chase her. And you let me marry her? Let me think that kid was mine. He looked away, wiping his mouth. I didn't know what to do. She begged me to keep quiet. Said she'd handle it. Handle it, I echoed, stepping closer. You're my best friend, Ethan. My brother. And you let her play me like a fool. I'm sorry, he muttered, and it sounded so weak, so meaningless. I almost hit him again. But I didn't. I turned and walked back to the truck, leaving him there in the mess he'd helped make. When I got home, Tara was gone. A note on the kitchen counter, scrawled in her shaky handwriting. I'm sorry, Jake. I'll give you space. I'll tell you everything when you're ready. Her car was missing, the nursery untouched, the house silent except for the hum of the fridge. I sat at the table, staring at that note, the weight of it all crashing down. 11 months of lies, unraveling in days. I didn't know what came next. Divorce, probably, and a paternity test to confirm what I already knew. But as the clock ticked past midnight, one thought settled in, cold and clear. I'd loved her. I'd trusted him, and they'd taken that from me. Outside, the first rain of spring began to fall, tapping against the windows like it was morning too. I folded the note, tucked it into my pocket, and started packing a bag. I wasn't staying here, not in this house, not in this life they'd built on my back. Wherever Tara had gone, whatever plan she'd hatched with Ethan, it didn't matter anymore. I was done being their pawn. The road stretched ahead again as I drove away, the rain blurring the windshield, washing away the last traces of the man I'd been. I didn't know where I was going, but for the first time in 11 months, I felt free.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. And if you'd love to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. See you in the next video.